Oh, hey there. You probably clicked on this video because you want to know how to replace your inner drag link and outer tie rod end along with your stabilizer strut. So we're working on 2015 Ford F-150, no, 250, 350, 250, it's a 250, obviously. And we're going to be showing you how to replace these pieces because they do wear out. You can see here, this is our inner drag link that attaches to your steering box, which then goes down to this outer tie rod end, which attaches to the passenger side steering knuckle. And we've got an adjuster sleeve that connects the two, this big rusty thing right here, and also a steering stabilizer strut. So this strut here just basically bolts on to the inner drag link, and then it mounts to the frame. And it does that in order to dampen steering vibrations and keeps your steering from going into a death wobble situation. So, without further ado, let's lift this thing up and we'll start taking some things apart. Okay, we're gonna take off our inner drag link here at the steering box. So we've got a cotter pin. This thing's all full of undercoating and grease, but we just wanna bend this cotter pin back so that we can try to take it out. A lot of times these things get really rusty and they just snap off. This one luckily has been covered in oil and grease, so looks like it's going to come out. This is a 24 millimeter socket on here right now, so we're just going to break this nut free, take it off. I might actually just leave it on a couple threads, but what we need to do now is the stud here that's on the inner drag link, it's tapered and it's stuck in this arm. So we need to basically shock this arm and make this come out. So I'm gonna try to hit this with a hammer, maybe even an air hammer or something to get it to let go. And then we can take this nut off and kind of drop it down, and then we'll continue to take other things off. Oh, this is gonna suck. Might have to try the air hammer. Okay, we've got a puller here, and we're just gonna set this up and we'll wrench it down tight. If it doesn't initially cause this to break free and come free from the arm, we'll at least have some pressure on here. A lot of pressure is gonna help us, especially if we're we're gonna go back to hitting it. Then, oops, I'm going the wrong way. Yeah, putting pressure on that stud while we hit this arm here to shock it, sometimes that does the trick alone to get that to let go. All right, let's try hitting it a little bit here. Yeah, I could use one. Okay, so we got that to let go now. It did take quite a bit of force, so this is what I'm using right here. Of course, there's no part number on it, I'm sorry, unfortunately. But compared to like this wrench. But I'm sure there's a tool if you search on Google or something like that. There will be a tool to do this. So anyhow, now we're just gonna basically let that kind of hang out. I'm going to, I think next what I'm gonna undo is this. So let me get the gun. This is a 15 millimeter, by the way. And then we can kind of just like let that sit there. Now we need to undo this nut down here. And once again, you can see we have a cotter pin. Looks like this cotter pin's gonna break, but that's okay because our outer tie rod end that has a huge stud going down is gonna have a new hole for a new cotter pin, so it doesn't really matter too much. And we can just hammer a socket on. I'm gonna break these off. See if the AliExpress knockoff DeWalt gun works. Ooh, yeah, like butter. I'd have to extract that on the bench. Anyhow, okay, now I'm just going to try to get this to come up. Yeah, I might just like tie that up with a bungee strap so it doesn't fly off. Okay, we'll just let that hang out. And then this one's gotta go up. Perfect, now we got the whole assembly off. You can see how that's set up. Right, so we've got, this is like a, on our inner drag link, we've got like a locking arm so that this thing can't like spin. And that sort of hooks into these clamps here, these U-clamps. And then we've got another bar that just connects the two clamps together so that they're spaced evenly. But what I want to do, so I left this all together so that we can see how long it is, because this is adjustable, right? This is going to adjust your steering wheel position. And I want to match our new assembly up to this one as close as I can so that it brings it back to pretty close to where it was. This truck is going to be getting some other work and it is going to go for an alignment. And I do recommend that you do get an alignment done on it. Really, this link here sets the toe. So this is the most important one for tire wear. This one, like I say, adjusts your steering wheel centering. So it's very easy to actually adjust this yourself and get the steering wheel centered. You just drive down the road a little bit. The steering wheel might be off to the left or the right. And then you just crawl underneath here, loosen these two bolts off, give this a spin, and then it'll either lengthen or shorten, which will move the steering wheel either left or right. And then you move it a little bit, take it for a drive, check it. Okay, it's going the right way. You do a little more, so on and so forth until it's adjusted just perfect, and then tighten it all down. I'm gonna give you torque specs here when we go to install the new one. I've got the new linkages and stuff right here. So let's just get this all set up in here and get the nuts and all that stuff started, and then we'll torque it all down. So about there. Oh, we're actually pretty well bang on. Believe it or not, I did a good job. So first thing I'm gonna do is just set this in here. And then, next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna actually just move this knuckle over. And then we can put this into here. We'll do our steering damper after, but we'll start this nut. So this sleeve goes inside of that knuckle, like so. Make sure those are together like that. New nut. Oops. All right, just snug that up. We're gonna hand torque all that. And then let's do this one up here. By the way, that's a Moog part that I put on the end, and the nut is actually a 21 millimeter now, so they give you a bigger nut. All right, this 24 millimeter nut up here is supposed to be torqued down to 129 foot-pounds. Okay, that one gets torqued down to 85 foot-pounds. Oh, it's just spinning the whole stud. Not even turning the nut. There. All right. In with the cotter pin, bend it over. Put the cotter pin in, bend it over. Okay, so we're installing a Monroe steering stabilizer, and they give you a supplied torque spec sheet here for the stud, and it's 35 foot-pounds on both sides here. Now, if you're using a factory Ford steering stabilizer, it's going to be 66 foot-pounds on the mounting bolt when we put the stud through, that mounting nut, 66, and at the frame where it bolts onto should be 59 foot-pounds. I guess that just sits in there like that. And then, I don't know. I didn't design it, man. I know. We're just gonna go with that. All right, so we've got our steering stabilizer that we are now mounting to the frame. Get our Is that correct? Okay, so there's a bit of a spacing here on this inner collar, and you can see how it sticks out on one side but not the other. It doesn't say on the instructions anywhere how that's supposed to be, and the factory steering stabilizer is flush on both sides. So I guess it's just a guessing game on how you want it to look. That's all I can tell you. Okay, so this bar has a cutout for this bolt to sit in. So it's supposed to sit here. And then what I'm gonna do is, I wanted to try to get this so that, you know, we can use an extension and a socket to easily use an impact gun. And we just pretty much, we need these to hook into each other. So before we completely crank it down, we want those to hook into each other, and just check the spacing to make sure that they're not all the way one way or the other. There's little notches that keep these U-bolts, I guess you could call them, or clamps, from sliding off. So that's about where I want it. Something about there. And that one's gonna be like that. So this unit here, like I say, this piece and this piece are from CarQuest. This is Moog. So all of these fasteners here from CarQuest, we have 15mm nuts, 16mm bolt heads, 16mm nut here, and the bottom is just actually a stud. So we'll just wind this down with a wrench, and I'll give you torque specs here in a minute. But like I say, you may need to just snug these down, take it for a bit of a drive in a straight line to see how the steering wheel is, and then adjust the steering wheel. And once you've got it set where you want it, then torque it down. Okay guys, so for all of these three fasteners, they're all gonna be 41 foot-pounds. And then, like I say, you can see how there's a notch here where this bolt is supposed to be sitting in. I'm just going to take this thing for a drive, and I'm gonna be loosening this stuff off anyways to adjust the steering wheel. And then once I get it all where I want it, I'll set this, move these clamps, slide them over a little bit, get that bolt to sit into that slot, and make sure that this is down all the way. And I think that's pretty much all there is to it on how to replace the outer tie rod end, inner drag link, and steering stabilizer strut on your 2015 Ford F-250. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments. Hopefully this video helped you. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.